I'm going to demonstrate how to sew a plain zip into a garment, and I have a completed sample here of a skirt back. It has the zip sewn into the centre back seam, which has a 2 centimetre seam allowance, and you can see on the left hand side it forms a welt which covers the zip completely and gives a really nice finish to the back of the garment. So I have my 2 skirt backs here. I have a notch at the top to show the 2 centimetre seam allowance, and I also have a notch part way down which indicates where the zip finishes and where the seam begins. The first thing you'll need to do is take this garment over to the overlocker and just neaten the raw edges of the centre back seam. Then come back, and first thing we're going to do is sew the seam from the notch down to the hem. So line the edge of your garment up with a 3/4 inch mark, which is 2 centimetres. Make sure your edges are even, and then we're doing a back tack. And stitching to the end. The first thing we're going to do after that is to put the zip in on the right hand side, and when you're lining the zip up you need to bear in mind that you've got a centimetre seam allowance at the waistline at the top, so the zipper pull tab needs to sit a couple of mil below that so that you don't have trouble when it comes to sewing that seam in. So just position it 2 or 3 mil below and line the edge of the tape, the zipper tape, up with the edge of the overlocking, the inside edge of the overlocking. You can just pop a pin in there, and of course I'm going to need a zipper foot on, so change your foot. I'm putting in the right hand zipper foot. And I'm just going to line that up. You can pop a pin in there if you feel you've got better control doing that. Just make sure you don't get the skirt caught up at the bottom end. Make sure you pull that out of the way. Back tack. And I'm sewing fairly close to the zipper teeth without being right on top of them. And just lining the edge of my zipper tape up with the inside edge of the overlocking. Now when you get to the top, it's a good idea to move the pull tab out of the way so that you can get past without the bulkiness of it getting in the way. So when you have a look at that, you can see where the centre back seam has been stitched, and you can see that there is a recessed area of about 5 to 6 mil where the zip is sitting back away from that centre back seam, and that's very important. That's how we hide the zip, is by having it recessed back away from centre back. So now I can fold my welt in place on the other side. So I've got a notch at the top, and just make sure that's nice and even. You could take that over to the iron, but I'm just going to finger press it. Bring it out to the outside, and I'm just going to finger press that to make sure that I don't lose that recess. And again, you could iron that back to keep it in place as well. Place the welt over the top of the zip, and starting at the top, bring the folded edge to line up with the notch, making sure that both of your skirt skirts are even at the waist. Then come down to the bottom. Make sure you push that zip back so you're not losing that 5mm recess, and just pop a pin in. And I'm pinning right close to the edge of the fold because we want the pins to stay out of the way, and we're going to leave them in when we sew. It just helps to hold it really well. I'm going to put another 2 pins in. So, you know, probably one every 5 centimetres or so. Now that I've got that pinned, it's being held in place really well. I can go to the inside and I can flip both of the skirts out of the way, and I'm going to sew the other side of the zip tape in place. Now at the top where the pull tab is, gets quite bulky there, and you do actually need room for that to be able to sit in there, so you won't be able to get in as close at the top. Starting from the top and making sure you don't hit any part of the zip, and you can just sew all the way down. And I'm just checking that I haven't got the skirt caught up in any way. Okay, so now I have both sides of the zip put in. So the last thing we need to do is to sew the top stitching, which creates the welt on the left hand side. So I've still got my pins in there, starting at centre back and checking to make sure that you haven't got that metal stopper under the foot. We need to sew above that. Do a back tack and then come out about 1 centimetre from the centre back edge, and then we're going to start sewing up to the waist. So there's 2 things you can do here. You can measure with your tape measure. You might want to pop some pins in, but you need to get that nice and even row of stitching. When you get up to the top, it's probably a good idea to get the metal tab, pull tab pulled away so that it's not getting in the way of your stitching. And that's my plain zip inserted.